there's a name that really echoes through the history of Sri Lanka. It's a word that carries the weight of ancient warriors, of forgotten kingdoms, and a tradition of, well, lethal beauty. And that name is Angampora. We're going to uncover the story of a martial art that was nearly wiped from history, a tradition that literally had to fight to survive against all odds. And this is the question at the heart of our whole explainer today. I mean, just imagine a tradition so powerful, so central to a nation's identity, that it had to be driven into the shadows just to stay alive. We are going to follow that exact journey from royal courts to secret family homes and explore just how Angampora managed to endure. So first things first, we have to understand what exactly Angampora is, because it's so much more than just a fighting style. It's a piece of living history, a cultural treasure that almost blinked out of existence completely. Now, the key to really getting Angampora is that word, holistic. This is so far beyond just punches and kicks. It's a complete system that weaves together combat with really deep cultural expression. You should think of it as part of Sri Lanka's intangible cultural heritage, a tradition that shapes the body, the mind, and the spirit all at once. And this right here is critical to its story of survival. For centuries, Angampora wasn't something you'd find in a textbook. No way. It was a closely guarded secret, passed down verbally from master to student. This created these incredibly tight-knit, almost familial lineages, where your character and your trustworthiness were just as important as your physical skill. And that secrecy, well, that would later become its only ticket to survival. So what makes this art so holistic? Well, Angampora isn't just one single thing. It's a complete system of knowledge. It's structured with several interconnected branches, and each one reveals a different facet of the warrior's path. The entire art is basically built on these three pillars. You've got Angampora, which is all about the body as a weapon. Then there's Ilangampora, which brings in traditional weapons. And finally, the most secretive part, Nila Shastriya, the hidden knowledge of the body itself. Let's break each of those down. So the foundation of the whole system is Angampora. It's the art of unarmed, close-quarters combat. It's this fluid, powerful discipline that has everything from devastating strikes to really intricate grappling and joint locks. It's all designed to control and overwhelm an opponent using nothing but your own body. Okay, so once a practitioner masters their own body, they move on to Ilangampora, the armed component. Here, the principles they've already learned are extended to a whole arsenal of traditional weapons. And this really shows you that the art wasn't just for one-on-one duels. It was designed for the battlefield. It was a true warrior's art. And this is maybe the most fascinating and honestly feared aspect of Angampora. Nila Shastriya is the knowledge of the body's pressure points. But this wasn't just about fighting. It was deeply connected to traditional medicine and a profound understanding of human anatomy. A master could use this knowledge not just to harm, but also to heal. It was the most closely guarded secret of them all. Now, to really understand Angampora, we can look at it in isolation. We have to go back and see it in its golden age, where it was woven into the very fabric of a kingdom. During the time of the Kandyan kingdom, Angampora warriors were absolutely essential. They served the king, they defended the realm, but what's really amazing is how deeply integrated the art was with the culture. The same rhythms you'd hear from drums at a ceremony were used in training. In fact, if you watch a Kandyan dancer, you can actually see the echoes of Angampora in their movements. The shared posture, the balance, it's undeniable. It was just a part of life. This timeline really puts the whole story into perspective. You've got this long, golden age where the art just thrived. Then, bam, this sudden, dramatic turning point in 1818 when it was forced underground. And for nearly 200 years, it only existed in the shadows before a modern revival finally began in the 2000s. Let's take a closer look at that moment of crisis. This is where that central question we asked earlier really comes into play. The arrival of foreign powers triggered a fight, not on a battlefield, but for the very soul of a cultural tradition. You see, when European colonial powers arrived, they saw traditions like Angampora as a direct threat to their authority. I mean, an organized, disciplined warrior class was a clear symbol of indigenous resistance, and for colonial rule to take hold, that had to be dismantled. The consequences were just devastating. The official training grounds, the Angam, they were destroyed. The art was outlawed. To keep practicing meant you were risking punishment, so it retreated into these secret family lineages. And over generations, this led to the loss of written records, and the art itself began to fragment. The complete system was fractured into pieces, held by different families all across the island. But the story doesn't end there. Against all odds, that flame was kept alive. And in the modern era, that little flicker has grown into a renewed effort to bring Angampora back into the light. Today, there's this really powerful resurgence happening. Scholars are studying its history. Cultural institutions are working to get it recognized, and a whole new generation of practitioners is dedicating their lives to piecing together what was lost. It's a collective fight to reclaim a vital piece of Sri Lankan heritage. But this revival, it comes with a huge challenge, a really delicate balancing act. How do you stay true to the authentic roots, the rituals, the discipline, the ethics of a secretive warrior art? And at the same time, how do you teach it responsibly in the modern world, making sure it doesn't just become some flashy performance, but remains a meaningful, living tradition? Ultimately, the story of Angampora isn't just about one martial art in Sri Lanka. It's a universal story about cultural memory, about survival. And it leaves us with a critical question that applies to any tradition trying to find its place in our modern world. How do we honor a tradition's past while ensuring it actually has a future?